Welcome to Sinister Heroes! I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do. If you like that kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. Please keep commenting. It is great to hear from you guys. It's awesome to hear your opinions about everything we cover here. Without further ado, we're going to jump into this week's video. We're going to talk about the 1D&D Dragonborn. So the Dragonborn has gone through quite a bit of changes, especially with the original Dragonborn being really not that great of a race, a lot of people thought, and then it being advanced throughout Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, where they got a couple of different options, and Dark Vision, and then Fizbanstresureyofdragons, where they blew it out of the water. I think the Fizbanstresureyofdragons are awesome, and there is a very big lore component to the Dragonborn that I think is really important to keep true. Again, I tend to play very closely to the lore. That's just me. So if you don't want to do that, and that's cool with your DM and the games you play, go for it. Just disregard that. Play how you want. That's the most important thing. A lot of the things are going to seem very similar to the Player's Handbook one, so understand that these exist, and you can kind of choose between them. In an interview, Jeremy Crawford was talking about this, and it says that these are designed to kind of run parallel to each other, so they can be interchangeable depending on what kind of world or what kind of things your DM is choosing to put into the campaign. But a lot of times it's just going to be running parallel. So you don't really have to use these options. Again, you can probably still use the Fizbans ones, because I imagine a lot of the actual tentative changes in 1D&D aren't going to really eliminate what they do. One of the biggest issues with the Dragonborn is the breath weapon. I happen to like the 15-foot cone better than the 30-foot line. That just happens to be me. A lot of people might differ. They might want one or the other. It all depends on what kind of Dragonborn you're playing. If you're playing a back line kind of caster, then the line is better for you because it gives you much more range. If you're going to be up front and doing multiple attacks, which is kind of really beneficial, you probably want the 15-foot cone. And what I mean is this. The breath weapon. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of your attacks with an exhalation of magical energy in either a 15-foot cone or a 30-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw against your DC, which is a DC 8 plus your constitution modifier plus your proficiency bonus. On a failed save, a creature takes 1d10 damage of the type determined by a draconic ancestry trait. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage. This damage is increased by 1d10 when you reach character levels 5th level 2d10, 11th level 3d10, 17th level 4d10. And you can use your breath weapon a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So, you can exchange attacks for your breath weapon, which is a cool concept. It does say you can replace one of your attacks, so dependent on how that is interpreted, or if that language stays exactly the same, you can do a regular attack and then breath attack, which I think thematically is cool. Like you swing like an axe as a barbarian and you breathe fire. Like that's great. That's thematic. That's fun. That's cool. In Fizbans, you used to be able just to switch all of your attacks. Like you can just go and just breath weapon, and that'd be cool and great. But it's inherent for the Dragonborn to be able to have that option now. I think that's very important. I think that keeps in line with everything, and I think that makes the Dragonborn that much cooler. You know, like it doesn't say it has to be a weapon attack, so you can't throw a cantrip. Maybe you throw a ray of frost and then breathe ice everywhere. Like whatever it is, you can make the most uses out of it. Dependent, as long as you have multiple attacks or something like that. So obviously people with extra attack are going to get more out of this, but that does not limit you as a Dragonborn to being forced into doing that. So you can also be a sorcerer and use quicken spell, drop it on a cantrip or a first level spell, and then hit breath weapon. Like it works. There's so many different options and viable ways to do that. There's enough ways to get the most usage out of this breath weapon as an alternative to a regular attack or a cantrip. You are going to retain resistance, which is great, and that's all tied to the draconic ancestry, same as your breath weapon, so make sure to choose one that really fits what you're doing. Some of the flavor text that they had mentioned about that was that this affects the way your color works and how you appear. A lot of Dragonborn tend to have a mixture of different colors as their bloodlines and everything have been diluted through time, so it's not so necessary that you look a specific way. based on the lore, but I mean, I do it. I always make my Dragonborn look whatever color they're associated with their dragon ancestry. But again, you're still getting that resistance, which isn't a change from anything else, so it's keeping that kind of a format. You are now retaining dark vision, which I thought was really strange that you didn't have it, but a lot of the times when you don't have dark vision, it does change the way you play the game, and it makes darkness and caves that much more interesting and exciting for DMs. And a lot of times people don't really play dark vision the way they're supposed to. A lot of times it's not that you can see like definitive things, you can't see really changes in color and things like that. So if you did get separated from your group and you saw two humanoid characters on opposite sides, it'd be pretty hard to tell which one was your partner and which one was the enemy. So that's one of the things that's very, very important as far as understanding what dark vision does. But not having it as a dragon entity is a little unusual. So they gave that to you in Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, and it kind of has been a pretty good staple, and it's something that people desperately wanted before, so everyone really kind of clamors for dark vision. The new ability you gain as a Dragonborn is Draconic Flight. When you reach 5th level, you learn how to channel the magical energy of your draconic ancestry to give yourself temporary flight. As a bonus action, you sprout spectral wings on your back that last for 10 minutes, or until you are incapacitated, or you retract the wings as a bonus action. During that time, you have a fly speed equal to your speed. Your wings appear to be made of the energy used by your breath weapon, and once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. As an ability, it's strong. Flight is great, 10 minutes, you can do a lot with that. 10 minutes, ranged weapons, ranged attacks, breath weapon. This is where you'd probably want to use that 30-foot line. Great. Powerful. My problem is, from a lore standpoint, this really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. First and foremost, why they're spectral wings is just bizarre. They're going to look ethereal. You're going to look kind of like an angel. It's not ways that I think draconic magic would really work. But it's just bizarre to me on that point. Another big point is the nature that Dragonborn have with the other dragon lineages and species, or whatever the language is currently being used. Dragonborn don't have tails. They don't have wings. Draconids can fly. Half-dragons can fly. Draconids and half-dragons probably have tails. Like, half-dragons have tails. Full dragons have wings and tails. A big part of the draconic history is that they hate dragons, and a big part of that is because they've been subjugated for such a long period of time. And when you're a powerful race and you see a race that doesn't have the same capabilities as you, like not being able to fly, you obviously have a power over them, and a lot of races will abuse that. That's inherent to the Dragonborn. That is why they are so reliant on themselves, because nothing else helped them. It was just them trying to survive and them trying to break free from the dragons, and every time they failed, it got worse for them. You're taking a big part of that lore and just giving them wings. Like, it seems like they're just trying to make the Dragonborn stronger than they have to be. All they really needed was dark vision, and they have this great unique ability that nobody else does, and they're cool. Like, they're an awesome, intimidating looking race. I really, it's a cool, powerful ability, and I don't want to take anything away from that. But from a lore standpoint, and again, I follow the lore pretty hardcore, I can't use this. It steps away from what a Dragonborn is. Like, if I'm playing a different homebrew kind of a Dragonborn, then yeah, great, I have no issues with this. But following the lore, you can just have 10 minutes of flight, like one of the dynamic things that separates you from everything else. Just now, it's like, it's not like it's like you just grow it, like you just sprout wings for a moment and then they like deteriorate and fall off. It's like they just magically, you can fly. Like, and it's not really what a Dragonborn is in my book, so I tend to have a lot of issue with that. I don't understand what happened to them as a species to become capable of this. They're not inherently magical in that kind of a sense. Breath weapon is more like a reflex than it is a magical ability. Like, they're dragons, yeah, they have probably some sort of dragon inherent magic to them, but this just doesn't seem like that. Our final thoughts. The 1D&D Dragonborn did flat out get stronger. They got the dark vision that everybody desperately wanted. They can now switch out their breath weapon from either being a 15-foot cone to a 30-foot line, which I think is really, really great, and it's something I wanted from the beginning. Draconic Flight is powerful. It just is. As much as I might not like the thematics and the reasoning behind it, it's a powerful ability that does definitely change how you're going to play your Dragonborns and what happens, because that's at 5th level, so you're always going to have a game where you have access to this. It is going to be a game changer. Find a ledge high up, grab onto it, just sling spells. Great, you're out of melee range. You know, like, you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. Keep in mind, you do not have hover, so you will plummet if something knocks you prone. That being said, this is a powerful upgrade. This makes your Dragonborn so much stronger and so much more in league with some of the stronger lineages and species that exist already. So you're going to see more Dragonborn, I hope, and really, like, dynamically see these things brought to the forefront. That being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. This is one of the better changes of 1D&D, and we're kind of happy about this. So thank you. If you've made it this far, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you like what we do here, please keep commenting. It is great to hear from you guys. I want to hear about your opinions on the Dragonborn. Please tell us in the comments, and thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.